Hi guys, just to pop up. Um, Headed out to the smoke shop. I got the puppies with me. Um, Floodwaters down in the lower valley are getting worse. Freeways are closed all over the place. Um, Tomorrow morning is going to be a crazy ride up to Seattle. Um, 167, the main freeway I usually take north, is closed. Hey, Burn, thanks for dropping in, bud. Um, hey, Eddie. Um, Tiger, hi. Yeah, the valley is flooded all over the place. They had a levee breach on the Green River about an hour ago. So there are parts of Tukwila that are now underwater. Uh, and yeah, at this point, I haven't tracked a route north to even get up to Seattle this morning. But I know I can't take any of my normal routes. Um, hey, Matt, thanks for stopping in, bud. Hi, Karen. Yeah, I'm headed over to the smoke shop. Um, Obviously, Sivvy did make it to work this morning. Um, she did a lot of running around back and forth across the territory in order to get there. Obviously, a lot of her freeways were closed too, and that's what I'm looking at this afternoon is how I'm going to get up to Seattle tomorrow because main freeways. Hi, Lee. Thanks for coming in. Hey, Larry. Um, 167 is closed, which is the normal freeway I take all the way up to the valley. There's a large section of that that's closed up between Kent and Auburn. It's underwater. Uh, and then a little bit further north of there is where the levee broke. Um, and we're expecting more thunderstorms tonight. Earlier today on the news, I saw the posted rain totals in the last six, uh, in the last, in that atmospheric river they called it. We had 16 inches of rain in 3 days. Um, and they're expecting another couple of inches tonight. I don't know that we'll get hammered again, um, but everything that was up here is now down in the valley causing havoc. Uh, so it's still bad out here. We've also got pretty good winds coming through the area now too, 50-mile-an-hour gusts. We've got trees going down. People are without power. Skagit County, which is 4 counties north, is in a lot of trouble too. Skagit River and Snoqualmie River, or pardon me, Snohomish River, are well over their banks. Yeah, might have to do that, Tiger. Trade the truck in for a canoe. Um, yes, this is just going to be driving, Timothy. Yep. Update on the flooding in the area. Um, uh, Other side of the Puget Sound is getting hit bad too, but nothing like we're getting it over here. We've got most of the, if the freeways aren't covered in water, we've got mudslides happening all over the area. All of the roads over the Cascade Mountains are currently closed in Washington due to mudslides. um, Yeah, it is what it is through this little area until I get better signal. I don't normally broadcast down through here. I don't usually start alive until I'm up further uphill. Um, but yeah, it's there's so many between the mud and the wind and the rain. We're struggling up here. Does it sounds like every other day? Okay, then we're good. I'm in a pickup truck. I carry shit around, so I've got stuff in the back seat that squeaks and rattles. I have listened back to them, so I know about that noise. It's a work truck. Anyway, uh, why is your name Marina? Apparently, the children aren't busy in school today. Um, I was gonna kind of see if I could see any flooded areas coming down off the hill right here, but it doesn't look like it. Yeah, I know. It needs a windshield. Thanks for reminding me. Exactly. The line, it's not through my line of sight, so I figure I'm still okay. Um, yeah, most of the current flooding is north of this location. Um, that may make it a little bit better. Yeah, it's got 226,000 on it. It's got at least another 100,000 on it. Runs great. Just put new brakes on it last week, so um, but yeah, that breaking the levee is a big issue. There's mandatory evacuation still in effect all over the place. Hey, Simon, it's it's bad. It's very bad when we got to go way north in the morning. But I figured Jerry goes live in about an hour and 15 minutes, and so I would hop up and do a quick live on the trip into Puyallup and back. Hey, the moose. Um, Dogs are in the cab with me and they're napped out, so we're good. Uh, Sibby finally found her coffee this morning, so that ended good. At least I know I don't need bail money for her this afternoon. Uh, but there are additional roads because of the levee breach that are going to be closed for her to get home, so I'm worried about that. Uh, yeah, kind of. I'm headed over to get smokes, Larry. Um, so I'm not going that far north, but I figured I'd take a look at. Yeah, see, there's the time. 167 closed from 15th to 212. That's the freeway I would usually go northbound to go up to Seattle. And I would, I've got to get around that somehow, and then somehow, and because that's closed, I-5 is completely jammed. Uh, so I've got to leave substantially earlier. I'll probably go live earlier in the morning too. Morning, Mama. Hope you are this afternoon, I guess. Maybe evening where you are. Hey, Chef Roasting Gag. Um, but we'll see what happens in the morning. But I'm definitely going to start earlier because I don't know how many detours I'm going to have to take. If I set up the GPS, it's about an hour and 40 minutes, and normally without traffic, it's an hour and 5. So it's gonna be a trip in the morning. And like I say, I don't know what direction it's gonna send me, but I'm just gonna follow the GPS. I mean, I know the road, so I can probably map it out in my head and not have a problem with it. But we'll see. Right now, I'm headed down to the smoke shop, but it gave me a chance to kind of come out and see what was going on. We had a levee breach about an hour ago up in Tukwila, which I've mentioned many times on my drives when we go through there, just because of the funny name. Um, we're usually on I-5 when we go by there, but down lower in the valley, there's an immediate evacuation for the area with the levee breach. They aren't even estimating how much water got out through that. Wasn't a huge breach, but maybe 15 feet, and it's on the east side of the river. So at least it didn't go towards the South Center Mall at all. But it's a little bit of residential and mostly warehouse area. Um, but there's lots of other areas that are under mandatory evacuation and have been for a couple of days. And like I say, we're expecting another 2 to 3 inches of rain tonight, which probably won't bring us. We're up at our house. We're all the way back down into the creek bed where it normally is. So I would bet we aren't going to get up above halfway again, uh, unless it extends out. But 16 inches of rain in 3 days caused what you guys saw earlier in the week or last week from the videos that we posted. Um, and if we get another that or another few days of rain like that, we have a problem. Yeah, but yeah, I mean, it's all heading towards the south. Eventually, it's all going to run out there. Um, but it's several days to get it from our house up in the mountains down to Puget Sound, and it basically progresses down through all the neighborhoods and all the through the rivers getting down, and it takes time. So the big overflows that we had earlier, or the tail end of last week, is what's hitting everybody down further now. They don't have the bank structure that we have behind the house, so it spreads out quite a ways. Uh, but we'll see how it goes in the morning. That's when I'm really going to get a good look at in the morning, and then on the trip back, get a good look at how bad it is up there and how far off the beaten path I have to go in order to get to where I got to go. Normally, I leave about 2 hours for that drive, and I start at around 7 a.m. My time, Pacific time. and I'll probably get up about 45 minutes early and check the GPS and get an idea of where I have to go, and then leave accordingly earlier. Yeah, better chance of me getting there than of them getting down here, Tiger. I don't, Larry. I don't know if you saw the videos that Civvy posted on Off Topic Squirrel. Normally, the creek right behind the house is about 10 feet down from the top of our bank, and it was all the way up to the top of our bank uh, Wednesday last week, Wednesday or Thursday. Yeah, if you saw it, yeah, it's normally creeks normally knee deep at worst, usually ankle deep. Um, but but and I just got another flood advisory, so we may be in for. Um, there's a deep chute right behind our house and the neighbor uphill from us, and then above it and below it, the creek banks go down to a lower level. Um, back they redirect the creek to put it behind our house, so that because of the railroad they wanted to put in, and so they built this chute behind our house. So it's narrower but taller. Uh, which gives us a little bit of an advantage. Down the road, there were people sandbagging, and then we had Whitewater Rescue 5 or 6 houses down. Apparently, somebody had wound up in the river, and they had to get them out. And that was I think that was Wednesday morning. Um, but we'll unless like I said, it was 16 inches of rain over 3 days, and unless we get it that bad, I think we'll be fine. Could limit our getting in and out, but or unless something would jam up the river. Uh, Down the ways a little bit from us, it goes underneath the bridge where the cars. Oh, stop it! He doesn't need your help. There's a guy selling flowers along the road. Apparently, it ticked Dory off. Um, and fish from a street. Yeah, we get poachers across. The salmon come up our creek every 2 years. Cohos do, which are pink salmon. Anyway, I got lost. The CRS is kicking in. Well, see, apparently that guy shouldn't be selling flowers over there. He even ticked off Taco. Um, yeah, unless we get a lot of rain, it'll stay low behind us. It could inhibit us getting in and out. Otherwise, unless there's a blockage, in other words, trees come down and get jammed up at that bridge that we get in and out of town on, and that was closed for a brief minute Wednesday. Uh, Shortly after Sibby got out of town, water went over that bridge and they shut it down. But luckily, hi Nora, thanks for coming by here. Um, uh, yeah, if trees would come down and jam up at that bridge, then all bets are off because it would begin to back up and come towards us. Uh, although we're in town, we're at a little bit higher elevation, so I don't think it would fill up enough to get to us, but it could cause it to overflow the banks behind the house. We moved in November of '08. In January of 2009, we had what they called was a 1,000-year flood. Um, in other words, one every 1,000 years, and that was basically the same thing we got this year. So I guess it's been 1,000 years since 2009. Only that one took out a 60 by 40 foot chunk of property and a bunch of trees, and took all that downstream. Um, and then they rebuilt it all. Contractors came in and they diverted the water in the creek, and we had two very large track hose in the creek, and they rebuilt all that banking. And apparently, part of that bank rebuild was they apparently the idea is they put a bunch of willow branches, stick them into the dirt, and then the theory is that they'll sprout and grow willow trees, and which seemed to work pretty well. But the new neighbors moved in on the uphill side, and the wife got mad because she couldn't see the creek, so she cut them all down. So then 2020, we had another flood, but it wasn't near as bad. However, because she cut those all down, all of the root structure that had been put in place by them was now garbage, and it took everything out again, and they had to rebuild it all again. And that's when the track hoe caught fire in the creek and all the other miscellaneous BS that happened. I need to grab all of Civi's footage of all that stuff and put it all together to give you guys an idea of excuse me, the cluster F that was that summer, or those 2 summers. Um, they wanted permission to do it in and out of my yard. They came in and out of my side yard to do it. And I said, as long as you repair my bank and it doesn't cost me anything, yes, you can come in and out of my yard. And in the process, they lowered my yard by 2 feet on that side. Replaced beautiful, nice Kentucky bluegrass with the garbage edges of pre-grown sod. Just did a crap ass job. So when it happened again in 2020, they came to get permission again, and this time I wanted cash so that I could repair the damage that was left last time. And so they decided to come in through somebody else's property and rebuild it. And they hired a much smaller, less reputable company, and they're the ones that had the track hoe, a much smaller. We had two huge track hoes in the creek the first time. Second time, we had a small track hoe, one of the little funny looking ones that barely holds one guy. Not that they really hold any more than that, but you know what I mean. And that one overheated and caught fire when we were working with it, trying to move these huge stumps and stuff. So I have video of the track hoe that was on fire, but Civi has all the rest of it because when they did the first round and most of the second round, I was working it, so I didn't get to see most of it. At one point, what caused it all is that there's a sewage pumping station across the creek from us, and the pipes go under the creek and then come up through our yard and out to the street. And the original flood had exposed those pipes, and that's why it all had to be taken care of. Um, And in the process, at one point, they broke that sewer main. So we were stuck with that smell for about 4 days. It was just ridiculous. The whole thing was one big, huge cluster up. And they're only allowed to be in the creek for 30 days. The only time that they can mess with the creek is from August 15th to September 15th because of the spawn, the salmon spawn. And I think as it was, they went over it by a day. Yeah, just the whole thing was a mess. But at this point, we've survived it, so I think we're going to be okay at this point. As long as we don't have another battery of rain come through that big, uh, I think we're good for this year. Which would be nice. But in the meantime, the rest of the area is suffering with what we had last week. And all of the mountain flooding is now down to the valley flooding. But now everybody up by us is all sandbagged from what we had. Nobody should have problems. We actually only had two houses with water in the basement. One of them was just a little bit, and then there's another one that's got a garage that goes down underneath and behind the house, and that's right on the creek. And when that one went underwater, those people just quit sandbagging and gave up. And they were sitting on the porch drinking a beer, watching it all happen. It was really kind of funny. But what do you do? You got 4 feet of water in your garage. Might as well crack a beer and watch the fireworks. Hi, kids. Well, there's traffic in front of me, so I can't go too much faster. Hey, Jake. Thanks for stopping in, bud. All right, we're almost there. Yeah, exactly. Crack a beer and take a bubble bath. And the puppies know we're at the smoke shop, and so they're all excited because they get dog treats here. So I guess the bottom line is I'm going to start the live early in the morning, and it'll probably go for a while longer than normal. This is a reservation gas station, which is why it's so crowded. Cheap gas and cheap cigarettes, and we'll get in line. Yeah, puppy GPS, exactly. The good part is they're well trained here. They know not to climb up in my lap until a window goes down. Hey, Tiffany, thanks for coming in, honey. Sorry I missed the live, but I did watch it. That was fun. The chili and pot roast are both awesome, although I just tasted the pot roast. Of course, I try and rewatch everybody's lives, at least for most of it. Once in a while, I get sidetracked and have to do something, but Yeah, the wind's starting to pick up here. That's going to be a big problem is with the big wind gusts because now that the ground is all saturated, all of the root structures are not being held in place as well as they should be. So that could be a problem. Although when we left home, Wilkeson is surrounded by four hills, and you kind of follow an S turn uh, in order to get out or in. And so, unless we have winds from dead north, it can be blowing 70 miles an hour outside of our little valley. We got nothing. If it's coming from dead north, then we're getting hammered. Cindy, relax. Um, and we really had nothing. But as I've been out, although the truck hasn't been thrown around much, it's yeah, just about all of them here have drive-throughs. There's one in Puyallup that doesn't, and it's like, really, guys? That's why you guys don't have the same business everybody else does. Hey, Coyote, how you doing, dude? Made it down to Ording recently. Wright's Trapping lives in Maple Valley, which is about 20 minutes away from me, and he's been down trapping in Ording, which is the little town downhill from us, and it's been so badly flooded we couldn't even get to it if we wanted to. And I think part of it's still under evacuation. Claiming it blocked his view. Jesus. Yeah, the creek's still flooded. Yeah, it got right up to the bank behind our house, and everybody was sandbagging like crazy. Yeah, that's so ridiculous when they do crap like that. I know. Just give it time. The dogs are freaking out. They know where they are. Mountain Dew. This is actually a cool little smoke shop. They got good sandwiches here too. Sydney, what's the? Oh, that's what's the matter. You hooked yourself. I'm sorry. Quit whining and just say, Dad, I hooked myself. I need help. Oh, Jesus. Got to be careful. All right. When we get up to the window here, I'm going to mute you for a minute and because they're going to go bananas and you guys don't want it. Dory's bark is okay, but Cindy hasn't learned to bark like a real dog yet, and all she does is squeak. And it's bad enough that I would have to listen to that, but I don't want you guys to have to listen to that. Waiter's filled up too, Jesus. Okay, here we go. I'll be back. Okay, we're back. I know you didn't want it, so she took it. Got their dog cookies, and Dory only likes her kind of dog cookies, so she put hers down and just stared at it. So Sydney took it. Hey, Julie, thanks for coming in. All right, now we can go back home. Well, don't stare at me like that. You didn't want it. Dory's over here giving me the stink eye. Cindy took my cookies that I didn't want. All right. Well, I'd take you down through Ording if I thought I could, but I don't know that I can make it down there. So we'll go back the way we came. We got another hour and 15 before Jerry starts, so I'm still okay. All right. Okay, he finally turned his turn signal on. What the hell is with people? If you're going to turn, put your signal on. It really isn't that difficult. Have you been down the OK Highway? There was talk that there was a slide over there, like right above the Soldier Cemetery. Maybe it's been cleared, but I hadn't seen anything that had been cleared yet, so that's why I didn't go that way. An alligator, I just got a notice, an alligator has been located in the Spokane River. Red lights are now optional. Maybe in Florida, but up here, some dummy will run through a green light and hit you. Yeah, I knew that 162 was open, but I was the last I heard. OK was closed from 200s down. Or right at the fire station above or below 200, the Ordon Kapowson Highway. I'll have to go look. If they have an alligator in the Spokane River, somebody put it. See, when I was a kid, you could get baby alligators everywhere. All the pet shops carry them. Luckily, my mom was smarter than me because I wanted one. Don't blame Tiger. Yeah, I'll have to check that out. thank God, Rob Reiner and his wife being taken out. I saw that today. That's sad. You had a gator, or you had to capture a gator? Yeah, that's not surprising. The Blue Mountains would have gotten hammered too. All right, am I still here? Or do I need to reset it? Oh Jesus. Okay, thank you. Sorry, I got a phone call, but I chose not to accept. But it still interrupted my. It's always sad when work gets in the way of your screwing around. I sent him a text and told him I'd call him back in a few. I know when I was about 10, I saw one in Yardbirds in Chehalis and wanted it. And of course, my mom said, "I don't think so, Tim." Of course, when you're a kid, you see the little critter and think it's cute. Don't think about what's going to happen in 4 years when it's 8 feet long and wants to eat small children. Although it would have gotten rid of a few pain in the asses that lived in the neighborhood. Yeah, Rob Reiner and his wife were found murdered yesterday. I guess his son took him out. Yeah, when it's 8 feet long and the dog is missing. God, what the heck? I don't ever miss these lights. Now I'm missing every one of them. Yeah, they're saying his son killed him. At least they took him into custody. They're saying that's what happened. That's kind of sad. Meathead is gone. That's sad. That's kind of weird. Usually, when I see my headlights on a car in front of me, they're flashing, and the cars behind me have flashing headlights. If I look in the camera, but mine aren't at the moment. That's weird. Anyway, apparently, I'm easily amused. Exactly. They don't know that they are dinner, or you feed them first to fatten them up. Yeah, that must be it, Tiger. They're invading. They're hitting at the same time that the camera is. I knew what you meant. It was an autocorrect attack. Autocorrect is my nemesis. Every time I get hit by it, I remember it for a while and remember to pay attention. And then when it finally I get lackadaisical about it, it gets me again. Yeah, not so smart phone. Ooh, now we got a high wind warning. Now this one I miss frequently, but yep, just water, no fire. Was kind of cool. Carlson Block is one. It's supposed to be the best pizza in the state, and they are in Wilkeson. Uh, and apparently, when all of this happened Wednesday morning, the fire department brought in 50 people. They always dump the sand piles and the sandbags at the fire station, which is 5 doors up from us. And the fire department brought in 50 people to bag sand for everybody so that we could just show up with a truck. They'd load it and you could run with it and take it wherever you needed it and then offload it and go back and get more. And Carlson Block opened up early and was making pizzas and feeding those guys for nothing. I thought that was awesome. They live up the hill from us, so they weren't in any danger of flooding or anything else. But that was really cool what they did. That yeah, Subarus everywhere. Can't go anywhere without running into one. Exactly, end of year tax write off too. Yes, it is. Yeah, I would bet that that's a problem. I have enough problems with my lame ability to speak and speak to text. All right, off we go into the trees over yonder. Wind it up, set the cruise, and away we go. Yeah, it doesn't help. It was really kind of cool to see the help. I mean, there were people talking to the neighbors afterwards. There were people that nobody knew that just came in, showed up, and started unloading pickups full of sandbags to help. It was really cool to see everybody pitching in to help the people that needed it. Our saving grace is that the opposite side of the bank is lower than our side of the bank. So unless they start sandbagging, we're okay. Uh, and the house directly opposite from us, when we first moved in, didn't have a foundation. It was up on cinder blocks, and so they would sandbag at the drop of a hat. And about 4 years ago, they lifted the house and put a foundation under it. Uh, and when this time happened, they didn't sandbag, so we were okay. And actually, the 2009 flood, the only thing that saved our house from going in was the original 1900 when the house was built sewer pipe that dumped into the creek, and that pipe was sticking out from the back corner of the house going out to the creek, and it was holding the dirt in place to stop the water from taking it. It was just kind of funny that that's the one thing that saved us last time. All right. Well, it looked like traffic was stacked up on Eli Hill when we were coming down. So hopefully it's not bad going back. Got the cookies, got to see the people at the smoke shop, and they're happily laid down and passed out. I'm kind of thinking I may come this way in the morning and then go up Meridian. Um, but I'll have to, that's going to put me on I-5 at Federal Way, which could be a mistake because with 167 closed, I-5 is going to be jacked. And I can't use the carpool lane on I-5. Well, on my Tuesday Seattle trip, it's just as quick as I can get there and as quick as I can get back. And I've got to pay the play sticker, so I run the carpool lane all the way up 167 and then cut over to I-5. Civic just texted me she's got a wind advisory till Wednesday, which is the same one that I got a few minutes ago. Exactly. I've been watching the roads. I got to go up to Seattle tomorrow morning, um, and I've been watching the roads, and they're home swept away. Wow. I'll have to go look at that when I get home too. That was an AccuWeather warning. It said home swept away and flooded. Yeah, it's still early here. Hey, Gary, thanks for dropping in. Now, at one point when the flooding first started, right here, this underpass was under 4 feet of water. And that happens regularly because the sewer drain at that point gets clogged. Yeah, I got to take that phone call. That's cool. I'm not really very entertaining, Gary, so don't worry about it. I'm just blabbing. Oh, I did see the numbers on how much sand we went through on Wednesday, and it was 210 yards. For those who know, a yard of anything, if you're talking about construction terms, is basically a cube 3 foot by 3 foot by 3 foot. So if they say they poured a yard of cement, that was a 3 foot by 3 foot by 3 foot block of cement. That's how much it is. All right. Well, that's cool. The traffic's not all jacked up. That helps. I tried to time it so I'd be back in plenty of time for Butler Family Farms, and it looks like I'm going to make it. Nah, they're slow down. It's always heartwarming to see you guys getting along. Yeah, Sibby does that too. She'll tell me, spend 20 minutes or an hour on the phone with me on her way home. And then when she gets home, she has to tell me all those stories again. Gary is belt loop. Well, thank you. You missed it last night on our live. You're now a featured part of our live there, Latoria. We have an official laugh track. Yep. Chef laughs and a gingerbread man twerks. Oh, by the way, your new plate spinner will be there Thursday. need a short on a gingerbread woman twerking. All right, I'll work on that. Now we're moving up the hill. Sounds like we need to auction off some time out, Tiger. There you go. All right, we're coming back into Bonnie Lake. Oh boy. So we're about 15 minutes from home. And I'll let it go until the signal dies coming into Wilkinson. World famous Bonnie Lake Tavern. And down the hill, amazes me how much junk mail we get as a company. I don't know. Let's see what the car repair shop has for a show. What kind of car does Santa drive the other 364 days a year? A Toyota. Not one of his better jokes. He has one of those little portable reader boards. He puts jokes up on them all the time. Through this light, past South Prairie Road, cold. That was a perfectly good album. They changed it to a cold. What a waste. We already have Target, Walmart, Fred Meyer's up here. What the hell did we need a cold for? Oh, cool. That would work. There are so many other things that we actually need up here that they could have put in there, like a vacant lot. Hey, missing every single light today. Jesus, another hot yoga place. Or maybe that's the same one. It is. I was going to the smoke shop. I went out to the smoke shop and I'm on my way back now. Oh, up in Bonnie Lake? Yeah, a strip club would have been good. So my kids are both over in Enumclaw. Hot yoga. Those places tick me off, and I don't understand why they issue permits for them. They don't make them. Those for those that don't know, hot yoga is basically a yoga studio that runs at 101 to 105 degrees. In order to do that, they should increase the equipment that's on the roof in order to make the space be able to run at those temperatures. But they don't. So they overheat the heat exchangers. They'll stay in a space until the heat exchangers get burned out and have to be replaced. And repairs are always the cost of the leaser, um, of the tenant. The landlord will replace equipment but not repair it, and that's just commonly how commercial leases work out here. So they'll stay in a place until they destroy the equipment on the roof, and then they'll move to another space and destroy the equipment on that roof. And the county just keeps letting them get away with it rather than when they issue the permits, making them increase the size of the heating equipment in order to maintain that temperature without destroying it. Yeah, yeah, I don't have a problem with yoga places. By all means, if you want to do yoga, do yoga. But if you're gonna do it in a high heat environment, you know, do it correctly. Yeah, I have nothing. I have no desire to do anything hot. If I'm going to do something that's going to make me sweat, I want to be in an air conditioned space. I know we're through the roundabout. Now they know we're getting close to home. Yeah, that was a roundabout. And rather than doing it correctly, they didn't backfill the right side. They just offset the roundabout. Dumbest thing I've ever seen. So you have to offset first by about 17 feet, and then you go into the roundabout. They could have just backfilled the right side of the road. Yes, it's private property, but so was the other side. I don't know. I don't know. And mostly the reason that they put the roundabout in was because there's the spaces on the left are all commercial for warehouse space for trucks, and back up the road a little ways on the right hand side there's a low income housing apartment complex that can't come out and turn left on this road. They have to come down the road this way and then U-turn and go back. So they put that roundabout in so that there's a shorter distance before they can fully U-turn. Tigers always brainstorm, Gary. Tigers always brainstorm. All right, we got about another 5 or 10 minutes. Chevy has started ordering Christmas, and my living room is getting stacked up with boxes. Yeah, I'd be happy if they'd start moving roundabout too. Most of the cops call them drunk tests anyway. 'I like to read the Buckley Police Blotter, and 99.9% of the uh, DUI stops are right around that roundabout right there. 264th and 410, 265th and 410, 261st and 410. That roundabout's at about 260th and 410. I know we're at Monday Lost. Puppies are stirring again. Mary sleeps on the passenger seat most of the time when we're driving until we get close to somewhere she recognizes, and then she gets up on the center console. Um, yeah, the majority of them are, Gary. About the 5th of every month, they put out the Buckley Police Blotter. Very few domestic violence, most of them are DUIs. They're probably 30 of them a month easily, at least one a day. Boy, I timed that perfectly. This school gets out at 3:30 at 10, and then at this stoplight, if you turn right, the high school is down that road, and they get out at 2. And man, this whole area is a mess when one of the schools is getting out. Are you stuck again? No, you're not stuck. You're just being silly. Hey, Boss Hog, thanks for dropping by, buddy. Well, we got a good look at it. I'm definitely going to be starting earlier in the morning than normal. Um, when I get home, I'll start laying out my trip. Hi, Brooke. Um, I came out to run an errand and kind of get a look at what's going on out here. All the flooding that we were having last week is now affecting everything down in the valley, which is going to mess with my trip to Seattle in the morning. So I've got to leave earlier and reroute my trip because the main freeway that I take is closed. And they're not anticipating it being open in the morning. Ooh, pancakes sound good. We have the best pancake mix in the world out here. There's a local high-end uh, hotel and restaurant out here called the Snoqualmie Falls Lodge, and they produce the Snoqualmie Falls Lodge pancake mix, and there's nothing like it. They're big, thick, fluffy, incredible pancakes. That and some real maple syrup, and oh my God! By the way, you can get that stuff on Amazon, and it's worth everything. A little bit of the mix, a little bit of water, make it a little bit on the thicker side. Nothing beats it. We're about to come into Wilson. It's going to go south on me, so I'm probably going to shut this off in the next couple of seconds here. God, I've been doing real good without that happening. My my oil pressure gauge connection has been. It used to be real bad, and now hit and miss. They tweaked it a little bit, and it got to the point where it really wasn't coming on much anymore. And I was beginning to think it was because of the water would drip down through the hood and land right on that sending. All right, guys, this is where I'm going to lose you, so I'm going to say goodbye. Thank you, everybody, for being here. I'll see some of you at Butler Family Farms in about a half an hour. And I love y'all, and we'll see you later somewhere on YouTube. Bye.